And I think from the media perspective, we've all we beat that horse dead into the ground.
Yes.
Okay, so the question I have is from a pure footballing perspective. Colombia had an unprecedented win streak come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Was this their one shot? Was this like, you know, hey, Colombia had the right players, the right place, but the wrong time because Argentina was still unbelievably tough? Or is this something where Colombia is set up to win for a long time, and you know, once Messi and friends decides to step away, CONMEBOL's theirs to run?
You're saying Colombia?
Yeah, Colombia.
Yeah. Is it their time now?
Because sometimes you have a good team. No. Sometimes you have a good team that is set up to win just for right now.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have a team that is set up to win for years to come. But if Colombia is only set up to win now, they hit the immovable object in Argentina, and that's it. It's over. It was a good run. Tough timing, doesn't work out. Which is Colombia? Are they set up to win for a long time, or was this their one shot to get it done?
This is just the beginning for Colombia. This is just the beginning. It's the beginning of a new era, and now understand that Argentina's unbeatable and almighty run with an unprecedented back-to-back Copa America after in the middle winning a world champion. Nobody's done that in CONMEBOL in the history of CONMEBOL. This is the first time there is back-to-back Copa Americas with a World Cup winner in the middle. It's the first time that it's happened. Okay, now the Messi era is coming to an end. It's inevitable. I want to say I don't know if he's going to play the 2026 World Cup, but the arrival of Colombia, I'm not going to say that they're going to take over because never happened before. I mean, well, with Chile would happen. They got a fantastic run with back-to-back Copa Americas in 2015 and 2016. But it's not that it wasn't that they run the show. All right, they won the Copa Americas, but still the respect, it wasn't there. All right, we would never look them up. Oh, they are up there. We're not gonna catch him. No. This is not how it works in CONMEBOL. If somebody else win other than Argentina or Brazil, we're like, all right, that's your shot. It's my turn next. So everybody's fighting for that third spot in CONMEBOL. I don't think that Colombia is going to run CONMEBOL, and we're talking about, of course, the teams, right? We're not talking about the organization.
Yeah.
They're not going to run the show in South America. They're going to be an exciting thing to watch. They're going to be undoubtedly probably the top 3, top 2 coming into the World Cup. But in South America, it's so tough. Everything is so even. You know, we have right now we are at the bottom of the table. Peru, Paraguay, and Bolivia. We're in the back seat. We're in the back seat. But there's 7 teams. But there's the 7 other teams is toe to toe, man. The level is just right up there, and it's an incredible fight. And the level of performances from each team is incredible right now. It's just incredible, and I don't think that you cannot see anyone in CONMEBOL above the shoulder. The very moment you do that, you got beat. Whoever is playing against you, you look them over their shoulder. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do to you, and boom. And then is when the upsets are coming. But at this very moment, I would say that this Argentina team, they are untouchable. They are the untouchable.
This has to be, because see, it's one thing when everybody was talking about Spain, right, and that run that Spain went on for a while, and they said, "Oh, it's the greatest national team run of all time." I'm sorry, this Argentine run is, because if let's go ahead. You talking about the top tier of CONMEBOL, right?
Right.
Brazil, Argentina, and then whoever slots in at third. If you look over your shoulder and, like you said, and you go to La Paz, and there's always an equalizer. I feel like even if it's not on the field, it's off the field. Like, you got to play at altitude at La Paz. Have fun dealing with that. Like, it's, to me, that's what makes CONMEBOL so damn hard, is that even if you have a phenomenal team, everything else has to go right for you. I feel like there's not any sort of off the field advantage to going and playing in the Netherlands, right? There's no off the field advantage to going and playing in Paris, unless the players go out to party. The same thing in Madrid or Barcelona. Going someplace like Chile or Peru, where you're going to have to play at insane altitude, like, that's an equalizer, man.
It's crazy, and that's why it's so tough here in CONMEBOL. And when everybody in Europe says, "Oh, CONMEBOL this, CONMEBOL that," you can say whatever you want, but we are the toughest conference in the world. Period. There's you don't get to play Messi, you don't get to play Rodrigo 2 times, not in a row, man. 2 times on your qualifiers. You go play Cyprus, man. Okay, you go play San Marino, and then you put 17 goals, and you got the goal differential to go. I don't know, play Germany, and and that's it. That doesn't happen here. Even though when with Bolivia and we haven't seen a 5-0, 4-0 in a while.
This ain't Andorra and San Marino, brother.
And that's why. And with all due respect to CONCACAF, you go play Belize, you play Cuba, Puerto Rico. Come on.
Yes.
We need CONMEBOL to adopt the SEC slogan of "It just means more."
Yeah.
Just take that. CONMEBOL, it just means more, and just run with it. Just take it and run with it.
I would propose that.
What do you think about where things are? Colombia is that car that's coming in the passing lane. Things in the mirror are closer than they appear. What about Uruguay and what we saw under El Loco? Where are they right now, in your thought? Because you had them winning the whole thing.
Yeah. I did.
Where are they right now, you think?
I think they're gonna be number 3 or number 2 in the World Cup qualifiers. Still, they're gonna regroup, and they're gonna find out a way. And El Loco is gonna have he's having already a chip on his shoulder for this Copa America, and he's gonna make everyone else pay. When I'm gonna see now, what we are about to see from Uruguay in the World Cup qualifiers, is going to be a wild animal trying to eat alive every single team that they're going to face, man. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, they're going to come up even stronger, because that's the mentality of the Uruguayans, of the Argentinians. They are so tough mentally, man. They are so tough, and that's why many of us, I'm including myself here in this take, is that we envy these guys. Oh, who do you think they are? Well, we're 4-time world champions. We're 3-time world champions. We're 15 world champions, Copa American champions, and now 16 times world champions. That's who we are, and that's why we are so damn cocky. Try to take it away from me. All right, that's the mentality that I would love to see from many Peruvian players, but it's not happening. That's why that's why I'm gonna go into the business side, that the value, right? The value of the players is so high on that side of the continent. And there was I don't know if you remember this Peruvian guy, Norberto Solano, who played for Newcastle United back in the 90s, 97. He played with Maradona. Mm-hmm. He came up the other day saying that how in the world is that no other Peruvian player has beat my price. They paid 1.5 mil for Solano in 97, and we haven't sold a Peruvian player for over that price tag since 1997. So how is that possible? Well, I'll just give you the answer, man. This right here, mentality. You know, this is a winner's mentality that for some strange reason, it's not like, I mean, we don't have it, but why we don't work on it? You know, that what now you got a team of psychologists, you got the head coach staff. It's like we got 17 people in there, and you got the GPS, you got the nutritionist, you got the video analyst, you got the scouts, you got everything else, and and you also have a mental coach. This is the life coaches, mental coaches that every team has to work on the psychological aspect. And that's what Gareca did when he arrived to Peru. Everybody says, "Oh, he changed our chip, right? Now we got a winner chip," and that's they believe in, and that's why we qualified for the World Cup in 2018. But since he's gone, two coaches, it's not there. I see that we went backwards in terms of the attitude of players. Now we went back again now to all the drama. We got right now the soap opera with Paulo Guerrero. I don't want to play, and he refused to enter the pitch. And there's this guy sparring. He's screwing the other guy's wives, and it's just we got a mess again. It's like we went backwards 20 years, man, in terms of mentality. Man.
Wow. We got Nico Moreno joining us around the corner to talk about MLS. And I'm going to filibuster a little bit with you because I know that you've got a question for Nico about Raul Diaz. So we'll turn it into a fatal four-way when Nico initially does show up. Nick, what else is on your mind with our buddy Nino hanging out with us from Lima, Peru after his morning workout?
And look, all I want to know is who's next in for Copa? Who are you predicting is going to be the next champion? And then two, who do you think is the next dark horse? Because I don't think it's Uruguay, because I think El Loco, as we have seen, Bielsa's ability to keep that same energy for a team, it fades over time, right? Because of the intensity. You can only handle that intensity for so long. Yeah. I think Uruguay may take a step back, but who do you think is going to win the next Copa? And then who do you think is set up to be the dark horse? I know we're projecting way far out, but you know.
I know.
This is the fun of what we do.
Nick's testing your brain power, man.
It's hard. It's hard. But if everything, this is the thing with Argentina, right? It might sound crazy, but I think the dominance, will extend one more time unless the Brazilian young boys evolve and progress. And I think I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you the finals. I'm not going to tell you who. It's going to be Argentina versus Brazil, the finals.
Okay.
And fair, I think Brazil is going to take it.
Wow.
That's what's going to happen. Okay. Because for now, when you asked me at the beginning of the Copa, John, about Brazil, and I think they were not ready, but they will be ready for the next Copa.
Okay.
They will be ready for next Copa because now in the next Copa, Hendrik is going to be, what is it? I don't know, 22. The Rodrigos and Vinis of the world are going to be 25, 26. They're going to reach the maturity of a soccer player. So that's what's going to happen next. It's going to be Brazil, the next Copa America champion, beating Argentina in penalties. There you go.
I love it.
And the dark horse. I think it's going to be Colombia number 3 too, again. But that's a conversation. It's going to be among the three. The Brazil winning, Argentina, handing the crown to Brazil. finally get into double digits in terms of Copa America. So they stuck at 9, so gonna get the 10th Copa America, and Colombia will fail again short because the Toto Lorenzo said this, right? That Argentina failed so many times, they lost so many finals. This is the first final that we lost. So it's a learning process. The soccer is brutal. And yeah, you might see someone else lifting the trophy 2, 3, 4 times before you get your own trophy.
Who, from a player perspective, really had their stock shoot up to where they are going to be recognized, and it's like, ooh, we need to grab that guy for our club? Is it as easy as saying James and Sao Paulo sitting there going, cut us a check, we're ready to get rid of him? Is it a guy like Borja at River who was really doing well and wanted to mix it up with anybody who tapped him on the shoulder on the field? I mean, who, from a player perspective, really had their stock boost as we're now in the transfer window here in the U.S., just as a marking point? Who really shined for you that really is going to get themselves a good paycheck?
I think Richard Mendes, the right mid for Colombia, he was fantastic, man. He was him and Lerma. Those are the 2 players that impressed me the most throughout the Copa. Hopefully, they get a big paycheck because that guy can play, man. Richard Mendes can play. He was just amazing on the right mid position for Colombia. And Lerma, the guy who provide the balance and ride the show and bring the X factor in terms of coming into the end zone, joining the party on offense for Colombia. Those are the 2 names that for me elevated for above everybody else.
Okay. It is that time. It is time for the Fatal 4-Way. And it is where we bring in our buddy Nico Moreno, who is, so this conversation is going to have 2 folks in it based in Atlanta. We're going to have Nino Torres, who is hanging out with us from the Palace in Lima, Peru. And we're going to go to Seattle, Washington, where we bring in our buddy Nico Moreno, who's hanging out with us for another Thursday, as it's always Thursdays with Nico. So it is Nico, it is Nino. This is where hour number 2 is gone now. Hour 2 on Thursdays is now the Nino and Nico show. And Nick, Nick and I are hanging out. And Nico, we had Nino on to talk about what's going on with Copa. And he has a question for you about one of his beloved club and a player that you know intimately, since we are now in the beginning of the transfer window. So you can either put his hopes on a pedestal so high that Nino will not come down for months, or you can crash his thoughts and have him just crying in a corner with this question coming up. So Nino, hit Nico with what's on your mind.
Hey Nico, how you doing, man? Thank you for being here, and thank you for answering this question that I got 24 million people behind me backing me up on this question, right? So is La Pulga coming or not coming? Mr. Raul Ruiz, we're being I don't even finish a question, man. Let me just finish a question, please. He didn't let me finish. Like, he shut me down, man. He shut me down. Oh my God. I got just, my expectations, my hopes were like this, and now they're below 6 feet under. He threw me with my expectations on Raul Rodriguez. I know that the president of Universitario Deportes went to the States. He was in the Copa America finals, and he returned, and he said that it's really, really complicated. First off, because he's under contract. First off, right? His contract ends at the end of the year, and but here everybody's saying, "Oh, we can sponsor who we can pay his salary. We can bring him in. Just bring him for, I don't know, for 2 months or something." But yeah, it's he's not coming, right?
No, and look, this has been interesting because the reporting out of Peru, unfortunately, has had a whole lot of discrepancies and it's had a lot of inconsistencies. And I've kind of been on the other end, clarifying a lot of it. First of all, there were reports that John Ferrer was already here, was already talking to people and things of that nature. Uh, I had a source with the player tell me that the player was upset and didn't like the fact that they were reporting that he was trying to force his way out of Seattle and that it was absolutely not true and that he was not having negotiations with absolutely anybody. That was last week. Then after that, I talked to the team. There was absolutely no conversations with anybody. And just last night, I spoke to the general manager and he gave me all the green light to say his name and quote Craig Weibel saying, because there was a lot of reports out of Peru that were saying that Universitario was waiting for a response from Seattle to do a meeting to talk about Raul Ruiz, and it was a lie. Last night, Craig Weibel told me straight up, we've had no offers and no official contact with anybody from Club Universitario until right now. And that just tells me that there was so much fabricated or at least speculated information that is just not a reality. So that's number one. Number two, Seattle's not willing to loan the player. They need him. They want him. This team has Leagues Cup, has Open Cup semifinals, has MLS. Having a player of his caliber coming in as a super sub or playing as a starter in various competitions is important for Seattle. Number three, Seattle doesn't have a budget right now to go and replace Raul Ruiz with another DP, with another designated player. So why would they let go of Raul right now when the expectation is that the DPs and the big signings are going to come in at the beginning of 2025 as they prepare for Club World Cup? So there's just so many things stacked against this theory that Raul would leave, that unless something drastically changes and there's a 2% chance that he leaves, that it happens. So between the situation of Seattle and what we've known of the inconsistencies with the reporting in Peru, I'd say that there is a 98% chance that he's not leaving Seattle.
You know, I love that percentage because we got a little less of a percentage here from a guy who usually gets all the transfer talks, all the information. He said Raul Ruiz is 90% close to be coming to Universitario de Deportes. I know you tell me the opposite, so I wanna have some conversations today later on with the people here in Peru. That like. Because that guy, you know, they listen to the guy. He's well connected, and he usually gets it right. But when it comes for information from Peru, that's a totally different ballpark when the information comes from another country, from another team. But
and that's all I wanted to kind of put together, right? Because I heard those reports as well, and I was attacked, and you have no idea, and you're not a real journalist, and in America, you guys don't really know how transfers work. Look, I can only go by the sourcing, and now I'm talking directly to the general manager. He's telling me there's absolutely nothing. He even, went on to say that there's no reason why they would hide anything for a player that is 6 months into his contract. Of course, you're going to be teams calling at some point. They wouldn't hide it. This team is very open. They've talked about Fluminense's interest for Leo Chu in the past. They've talked about a whole lot of things. There's just no reason for Seattle to hide anything like this. And it was so like outrageous, some of the reports that I would see, that Raul clearly didn't play last game because he had a hamstring injury. And there were reports out of Peru that were like, oh, he's not really hurt. He's meeting up with people. No, he wasn't. I mean, he's injured, guys. I mean, come on. That's just plain and simple. So there's always all this back and forth with Peruvian media. And as much as I respect media in Peru, there is a little bit of a need in South America in general to at times make nice big titles, so it creates interaction and clicks and visits to their pages, and that's all right. You know what? That's the way things go. But at the end of the day, I'm coming through with sourcing directly from the club. I'm talking to the protagonist, and believe me, man, I have no need to create any sort of fabricated storylines. I'm just here to just communicate the truth.
Absolutely. And now that's what we call it here, vender humo. That's what they call it here. You know, the silly season, you try to sell something, you create smoke that you're having a big barbecue, right? But in the end, it's just, just burning something else on the side. It's not really a barbecue here. There's not even meat in here. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, sourcing could be coming from somebody with an agenda. Maybe he's getting this from somebody. I don't know. I can't really comment on where his sourcing is coming from. However, the reality, and after breaking it all down, when it comes to common sense, the reality of the club, is just at this point, there's nothing. And if there was to be an approach, a real offer, I just don't think that it would happen. And again, I've been asked, can it be a loan? It's not going to be a loan. There's no point for Seattle to loan the player. And honestly, I've talked to him several times. He wants to be here until the end of his contract. He's told me before, look, man, I'm focused and I'm just trying to finish my contract here and try to help this team get any sort of hardware, because they'll be playing a semifinal for Open Cup. They're, sixth right now in the West. I mean, they're pushing to try to get some titles.
And now the minutes, the fact that he's not having that many minutes that he used to, is just because of the injuries, or just the tactical decisions too? Or
well, that's a good question. No, it's honestly a coach's decision. And before maybe 4-5 games ago, it was on a game-to-game basis. But Jordan Morris, the number 9 of this team, has been in a hot streak, and you got to ride that hot streak. However, Raul Ruidiaz is always going to look unhappy because he wants to play. He wants to be out there. But he's bought into the fact that, hey, you know what? I'm going to get in here, try to get as many minutes as I can. He came in last night in the 60-something minute. Applauses from everybody. He comes in, creates a couple of opportunities. He has one in front of goal that Berkey stops. But at the end of the day, I think Raul Ruidiaz understands that here he's going to have to play out the rest of his contract, push up his value by giving this team everything he has, and I see that happening.
And on top of that, he's I don't think I'm wrong on this. He's a legend in Seattle. He's not.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. He's the all-time leading scorer for this club. He's brought a MLS title. He's brought a international CONCACAF Champions League title, and he was a key component in that run. I was there both in Ciudad de Mexico and then back in Seattle for that 2-leg final, and he was crucial. Him and Nicolas Odero were absolute legends in this club.
Absolutely, man. And thank you, Nico, for clarifying this. I'm gonna talk to my Peruvian audience after this. Guys, I talked to Nico Moreno. He told me this. He told me this straight up from the GM. So we're gonna have a busy morning here after I'm done with you guys. Thank you, Nico.
Nino,
I appreciate you, Nino.
Nino, I appreciate you, my friend. We will catch up with you soon. We'll talk about Nacional Danubio, Sudamericana, Libertadores. You ready to come back next week to talk Sudamericana, Libertadores at 10?
Absolutely, man. Of course.
Right. So then we'll do that. He'll bring his coffee, and we'll go from there. Thank you, my friend. We'll catch up with you next week.
See you guys.
All right. Nino Torres from Gold TV. That's always fun.
I love it. Nice guy.
Yeah, he's very cool. He calls a lot of the action on Gold TV on the English side. He had Nacional and Danubio last weekend, the 6-0 wipeout. And I was watching it, and I was listening to Nino call that match. And I'm WhatsApping with him during the match. It gets to 4, 5, and 6. And I'm like, bruh, the juice boxes in each of these halves were crazy. They were look, if you had taken the plus side on, say, 2.5 in each half, it was 3-0, and then it was 6-0. If you'd taken the juice boxes at over under 2.5 in each 45 minutes, you would have made a fortune.
Oh my!
And I was going back and forth with Nino.
Taking that out.
I know. I was going back and forth with him about those juice boxes, but no, it's always fun to have Nino on talking about the Copa and everything. We talked about Copa, and we're solving the world's problems, bringing you and Nino together, breaking things down, linking Peru and Washington State. And thank you for doing it.
I love it.
Nick, your first question for Nico here on Thursdays with Nico.
Nico, I want you to talk to management in Seattle and I need you to put forth the following proposal. Atlanta has money. Raul Ruiz, if he wants more playing time, if he's bought in now, but if that changes, we have money, and we could start him like Saturday. I'm just saying, if he was so interested, I'm just saying, we got money. That's it. That's all. I'm just putting it out there. Not for if anyone from Peru is listening, I am not affiliated with any team. So no, Abby, let me negotiate here. Don't try to. She says no. We need a younger player. Sorry, Nick. Abby, do not mess up my negotiations here. This is big time, high stakes, Fortune 500 negotiating. Okay.
Yeah,
this is what we're doing. I'm the anti-LinkedIn bro, but I'm going LinkedIn here. This is business to business right now.
So this is all the connections. How crazy, Nico, do you think that this transfer window is going to be in general?
Yeah, I think it's going to be epic. I think it's going to be one of the biggest ones. Just when you already take into consideration what's coming in, when you take in consideration what's coming out, right? And you go from players like Aiden Morris that have left, and you talk about Giroud that be coming in, and you look at teams like Minnesota, like Charlotte, like Atlanta that have the goods, have the checkbooks, have the open DP spots. I mean, I just think it's going to be an unreal, probably unseen type of transfer window, right? I mean, everybody's trying to get ahead. You have such a tight race for the Shield. What's Cincinnati going to do? Miami's already been linked to a center back. What's going to happen with Columbus? Can they do anything else? Philadelphia, they're talking to Sam Adeniran and reporting from Tom Bogert.
Signed this morning.
Fantastic. Yep. So they're getting something there, but can they bring anything else to just kind of try to get out of that funk that they've been? So I just think that every single team's going to try to be getting better. And this is turned out to be, MLS has turned out to be this new showcase and this new trampoline into bigger leagues that a lot of guys are dying to come in here and make either their time and using this league as a stepping stool to something else, to a better league, or they want to come in here and play their prime. And that's what Atlanta's looking for per Garth Lagerwey. So I just think it's going to be a unforeseen type of transfer window.
Nick, go for it.
Well, I think this is something that, is not really being discussed that much, and I don't know why, but we are probably just now out of the COVID era depression in the transfer markets, right? Where for a period like a year or two after the lockdown seasons, where teams are probably just now, especially over in Europe, getting their financial footing underneath them, and it's sort of resetting the transfer market again.
Yeah.
But now you have players who in these markets that were previously I'm not going to say untapped, because they were rarely tapped, because people didn't necessarily value the North American transfer market quite like they do now, because COVID forced them to shop in a different market than they were used to. And so now that opens the floodgates. Now it's like, okay, we now recognize MLS as a viable arena to go get players from. We now recognize that Canadian players can ball out. We recognize that there are countries in South America outside of Brazil and Argentina to go get players. So to me, this is something that it is going to be an unprecedented transfer market, not just because of the fact that there's probably more money to spend now than there was 2-3 years ago, but now that there's more acceptable markets than there were previously, which at the same time is going to have a bit of an effect on the amount of transfer money spent. Because before, if you went and said, okay, we value the South American player, this Argentine player at like 40 mil. Well, now because we could shop more places, that we're not likely to spend that 40 million on that Argentine player. Now we'll probably spend 25, 30. But that means that there's going to be more opportunities for MLS clubs to come in and say, hey, 10 million, 15 million, we could probably get a lot better player than we were getting 5-10 years ago, because of the way that the market is shaped. So this is going to be an absolutely insane transfer window for a lot of different reasons. But I want people to recognize where we are financially in the world as well.
Yeah, and then Messi's kind of globalized the league. There's so many eyes. You're seeing what Miami's been able to do, the type of talent that they've been able to bring in. I mean, Diego Gomez was fantastic last night, and Redondo was fantastic last night. These are prospects, South American prospects that usually would be in Europe, and they're here. They're playing for your eyes only, right? I mean, look at Gabriel Peck, pace abuser on the right side. I mean, he dominates yesterday with LA Galaxy, just saying, I'm faster, stronger, better than you. I mean, those are the sort of guys that are playing the Sudamericanos. They are, Olympic type of teammates, right? I mean, this is the quality that you have in MLS right now. And with the changes and the additions of separating now the 3DP spots and giving teams the benefit of also going and get U22s and all of the things that have been added to the roster rules, I just think that we're in for one hell of a transfer window here.
You've got the activity that happened last night in midweek weekend, schedule compression, week 72 in a row. And the West is its standard bit of crazy. We're going to do cliffhanger, obviously, here in a little bit with some Cascadia crossover. But right now, the way things stand in the West, it's the three groups: LAG, LAFC, and RSL. And we still don't know specifically what Chicho Arango did to garner a 4-match suspension, and only 2 of them having to do with games inside Major League Soccer's schedule. Hey, Chicho, you can't go to the All-Star game. Oh, no. oh, no, I'll sleep late. And it's like All-Star game, Leagues Cup, and then 2 league matches. We still don't know what is going on there. We know that it was a violation of the anti-harassment policy for Major League Soccer. That's it. Nothing else out of RSL. That's group number 1. Group number 2, Vancouver, Colorado, Seattle, Portland, Houston. And that gets you 4 through 8, 5 teams separated by 4 points. And then 9, 10, 11, Minnesota, Austin, Dallas, all separated by 1 point and various tiebreakers to get you in to the 8-9 to play whomever would be in the 8-9. You mentioned how crazy the transfer window is going to be. Right now, the run-in sounds like it's going to be just as crazy as we had anticipated in the West, with these 3 groups fighting over their 3 separate ideas right now. Who's locked in at home in the top? Who's fighting for that 4 to get the home game? And then who's going to have to either play in or be on the road? So you're going to have just as much fun as in the West as they are in the East with the 3 separate groups.
Yeah, look, I think that the top 3 are locked in. They're going to fight those 3 positions all season long. I still expect LAFC to come out up top. I think that they are going to be the ones that end taking the West. They were my pick at the beginning of the season. They're my pick now still, despite them getting exposed by Columbus, despite them not being able to win a game that they probably should have won, because RSL didn't have Chicho, they didn't have Carlos Gomez. I mean, it seemed like a game that LAFC should have won. They had absences, no Murillo, no Palencia. I mean, I get it. There were also some missing pieces for LAFC, but I feel like they're going to take over. And then the other 2, LAG, just too much firepower. RSL, I expect them to go and get somebody, maybe a 10, maybe give themselves another player out wide. I mean, I just think that RSL will definitely bring in another component to add to that already stellar group up top. So those 3 are locked down. There on out, I think it could be anybody's game, but I feel comfortable enough to say that 4 through 7 are going to be locked into the playoffs. So that leaves those 2 in the back. I think Houston and Minnesota are 2 teams that are not safe. In the general sense of things, I think Minnesota will end up being let out of the playoffs, to be quite frank. I don't see it. I've told you that I feel like they're finally the pumpkin that struck midnight, and everything they were able to do just was a bit of a moment, a bit of a change, but they were exposed. Even if they go and get a couple of guys, I feel like they still need to put together a whole soccer module to work for those new players. Houston, on the other hand, I feel like they're well coached. I feel like Ponce is going to bring a lot of what they haven't had, which is a finisher. They need that TNT. They need that 9 that's different. Sebas has been good, and I mean, unfortunately, his time has run up, and now the new guy's gonna come in. But maybe that creates some sort of debate and a positional battle, and we'll see what happens with Houston. But I feel like they'll be in there. But Minnesota is the one that I would take out. And when it comes to Austin or Dallas, I feel like I trust more of the quality that at this particular time Austin can provide with Wolves tactics. So because of that, I feel like it's going to be either Austin or Minnesota at the number 9 position, and that's where it's really going to play out. But everybody else, I feel like they're pretty good. I mean, look at Vancouver, right? They've had their issues. They've had ups and downs this season, but you look at that connection between Brian White and Robbie Gold, and you're like, man, that's going to work. You look at Fafa Picault and how bought in he is, and when he plays that White and what he does. And at times, they have that ability to do certain things where you're like, hey, this is a team that can really compete. Colorado's got a lot of talent. Seattle has a lot of that shield, that history behind them. We'll see what happens with Peppo. I think Stephen Fry is looking really good. He picks up his 7th shutout of the season. He gets 112 for his career. He's number 2, only behind Nick Raimondo. So it's going to be those teams that really come out. But Portland, to me, when I look at that attack, when I look at that roster, they're the team I don't want to see in the playoffs. Okay. I mean, you saw how they dismantled and what they did to RSL. That 3-0 was telling. And the way Santi Moreno's playing and the way Jonathan Rodriguez has bought in, the way Felipe Mora has been playing, I mean, that team is really, really powerful up top. And they could be in any game. Evander has been fantastic. I think that this team is really, they could really give some trouble to any team in the West in the playoffs.
All right. Time for cliffhanger, and I'm going to use you both. And we're going to focus on the games out west because by the way, what's the mug and what cup of coffee are you on?
Oh, I mean, this is number 3. This is number 3, and it's my regular Pike Place roast. It's been one hell of a night. I obviously was at the game last night. Right. My son was doing a communications thing with the Sounders as well, so he was at the press conference. He asked some questions. It was pretty cool to have my son there. Then we came back, and there was a Netflix series, Cobra Kai, that has a new season, so I had to watch a couple of episodes with him. Yeah. So it was at 3 a.m. that I went to sleep, man. So I'm over here just on fumes. So this is my 3rd cup of coffee. Wow. I think it's starting to kick in.
Okay, well, nothing wrong with Cobra Kai in the final season. And by the way, I hate to break it to folks, but there are folks that believe that Daniel LaRusso was the true villain in the Karate Kid.
He was. I mean, look, man, Johnny wasn't doing anything wrong. Who muscled in on the woman? Daniel LaRusso. Who started? Daniel LaRusso. Who punked Johnny in the bathroom by pouring stuff on him when he was on the toilet? Daniel LaRusso.
I've heard that. But you know what?
You tell me anybody who's sitting on a toilet and gets water dumped on them, if you're not going DEFCON 1. You tell me, it's okay, Daniel. It's all right. Nope. Nope. And then you got to watch Daniel LaRusso parade around with your girl after he front kicks you in the face in a karate tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see that. Yeah. I'm still Miyagi-Do, but you know what? That's all right.
Oh my God! Yeah, he look, man. Miyagi is Obi-Wan, who trained Anakin Skywalker. Daniel LaRusso's Anakin Skywalker.
Ooh, look at that! Wow,
right? A good man trained a bad guy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, and then of course he went to do car dealerships, so we know how this rolls.
Is there anyone worse than people who run car dealerships?
That's why I brought that in.
I'm not arguing that at all.
We got a couple of games out west that I wanted to get your thoughts on, and I'm going to go open mic with the two of you. Colorado hosting RSL. Colorado right now is at a -103. Draws a +285. RSL's a +240. Obviously, no Chicho. Nico, what do you think?
Man, as much as I would like to I mean, it's a tough one because I like Pablo, and I saw him talking last night, and I know he's a motivator. I think Colorado has done their work. I think Bassett is having a real good season. I think Navarro is doing his thing. I do think that they're going to miss Chicho, and I feel like Colorado could get this one. And what did you say the number was on Colorado?
Minus 103, just barely.
Yeah, so I want nothing to do with that at all. But I really do think Colorado can potentially take this. If not, maybe they'll push for a draw. But I feel like yesterday I saw an RSL team that without certain components could have some issues.
Nick, I think I've stunned him.
No, I was on mute. I'm over here looking at the numbers. I'll take Colorado.
Okay.
And Derek, is it that hot of a take? Is it that hot of a take?
No, I mean, but you're I mean, Seattle and LAFC. Seattle at home, a plus 148. Draws a plus 242. LAFC on the road up north. 1040 kicks Saturday night is a plus 173. Nico, what do you think?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Look, Seattle's been great. They've only lost 2 of their last 18 in all competitions. I feel like Albert Rusnak has finally become that 10 that this team needs. Jordan Morris is on a hot streak. Last night we saw Raul come in, Jordan get pushed to the right side. They created some opportunities. That said, I feel like LAFC is unlike anything they've seen in those 19 games. I feel like LAFC is anything like what they've seen in their last 6 games in which they have won all of them. They've won their last 5 at home. I think they'll draw because I feel like they are going to try to minimize Denis Bouanga. They're going to try to control Kike Oliveira. And they're going to hope that Jordan Morris is on a good one on a counter. They're going to overpopulate that midfield and try to challenge Atuesta and Ilie. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's a lot of firepower for Seattle to get that win. They'll play maybe a little bit more conservative, and I think there'll be a draw.
Nick.
LAFC.
Okay.
Straight up.
Last match is the 10:45, which to me looks like it's going to be the free TV side match with LAG hosting Portland Timbers.
Ooh.
LAG is a minus 137. Draw is a plus 337 in the composite. And Portland is a plus 295 on the road at LAG.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
I like it. What's the goal compass? Because I'm taking the goals, and I'm taking 4.5. So tell me that.
All right, hang on. Let me see what 4.5 is. So you're expecting a shootout. So 4.5 is a plus 185.
Ooh, yeah. Give me 4.5, and I'm gonna go all out, right? And I'm gonna take the draw.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the draw. End of 4.5. So how about a 3? Oh well, I guess I could go 5.5. But no, you know what? No. That's too much. There's too much good stuff there going on. Let me go LA Galaxy, and let me go 4.5.
Okay, so
Let's leave it.
All right, so you got your plus 185 at 4.5, and your minus 137 on the Galaxy. So that way you're still coming out on the plus side if your parlay hits. Nick.
Exactly. Because look, I think it's going to be a great game. I really do think there's going to be a lot of goals. Both have a lot of firepower on the offensive end. Both huge deficiencies on the defensive end. But I trust the balance of LA Galaxy's midfield to protect themselves with the ball and be able to maybe change the pace, and maybe Ricky gets on the ball a lot more. Fagundes, I think that there's more options on that midfield. Love Evander, and like what Timbers does with the ball at times, but I feel like they're more of a one speed type of team, while LA Galaxy can do a lot of other things with it. So I'll take Galaxy.
Nick.
I think getting to Nico's point here, look, when you look at the goals forced, goals allowed, right? So we go Portland, we got 48 goals forced, 39 goals allowed. LA Galaxy, 47 goals forced, 34 allowed, right? So to me, I think if you start looking at it from that perspective, Galaxy's ability to control the midfield, just like Nico was talking about, to me, I think that's going to be the difference maker. Ricky Puig, is there anybody who's like a better heel right now than Ricky Puig? Anybody can get under anyone's skin. He's so good technically. He's tiny. It looks like he should be able to run him over. but yet he just pisses everyone off. He's
Mhm.
a card magnet. So I'm just going to go. I think that it's going to be Poosh. He's going to be the star. He's going to get some Portland some card trouble early, and I'm going to see Galaxy running away with this one.
All right. So, Nico, you're on your third cup of coffee. What's going on with you, Pulso Sports and the Soccer Bar?
All right, Soccer Bar start in 40 minutes. We're going to be getting a lot into some of these matchups. We're going to talk about that big three on both sides, the east side and the west side. The Shield race, man, is kind of moving around. Cincinnati, back-to-back losses. They've had some issues, both when it comes to not having Lucho, all the way to their back line and some of the things that have gone on. Noonan gets a red card.
Yeah. Oh, man. That was.
I mean, it seems like Powell lost his mind as well. I mean, it was just so many things wrong with Cincinnati when in Miami is doing the opposite, man. They're kind of playing their race, doing what they do. So it's going to be fun. I still think Columbus is the best team in MLS. I feel like they're the most complete. I feel like you see that in the goal differential. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And when it comes to Pulso Sports, we won't have anything until tomorrow, but we're going to have a nice little breakdown of the LAFC game. We might bring ourselves a nice little guest to talk about LAFC. And, of course, we'll be at training getting you all the best information from Brian, from whoever they give us available. I did promise a Yemer Gomez Andrade interview, so I will do that. Fans want to hear from him. He's a guy that has reached over 100 games with the Sounders. He's been unbelievable. So expect that as well in Pulso Sports.
As always, my friend, great to catch up with you. Enjoy your third cup of coffee and get your quick nap in. Get your cat nap before you do the stuff coming up in 40 minutes. Great to see you, my friend. We'll see you next week.
It's good seeing you guys. Have a good one.
All right. That's Nico. And Nico is going to enjoy his cup of coffee. So, Nick, we had a show today.
Yeah, we did.
We're solving the world's transfer issues with the Raul Ruidiaz situation in Peru. We had Nico Moreno talking to Nino Torres in Peru about the whole thing. And so now I just have this vision of Nino going out onto his deck and just like yelling that, no, Ruidiaz is not coming. And, and people like throwing stuff up to his balcony at him, those kinds of things. That is not the news we needed to hear, So we're solving the world's transfer issues. Great to catch up with Willie Davis, the head coach of North Carolina Courage, as they're getting ready for their national championship game in USLW against Colorado Storm Saturday night at 6, and breaking down everything that happened with Atlanta United and NYC in the half hour that we had in between Willie Davis and hour number 2. What else have we learned today?
I mean, I don't know about if I necessarily learned anything other than I could probably listen to a show with those two, no problem, because it's, and I think it really, okay. I did learn something here.
Oh, okay.
And I did learn something. Let me go here. This is the time of year when not just on the soccer side, but life in general, people are putting out what they call news, which is more so newsertainment, to get clicks and views and engagement, and people will toss out engagement bait. All right. If you see something that comes across your timeline and your first reaction is, I gotta click it, just take a moment, look at it again, and ask yourself, is this engagement bait? Is somebody just trying to get my time and my engagement with this particular post? Because this is so stupid. I don't know if I feel like I can correct this. You can't.
Yes.
You can't.
No.
Okay. You can't correct them. Just let it go. People will say your favorite player is trash. People will say that there's no way in the world that this, that your God tier player matches up with this absolute mid. If your first blush reaction is to engage, step back. That's all I'm saying. That's what I learned.
Okay. And I learned that we can unite continents and solve the world's transfer issues at the beginning of the opening of the transfer window. And As we always say when we come into transfer windows, check your sources, check your sources, check your sources.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have our tier ones, we have our A-siders, we have the ones that are B-plus players. We do have some Bs that we pay attention to occasionally. And then to Nick's point, we have the engage-a-clickers. We have the ones that are taking the plate of food in front of them and throwing it onto the wall and seeing how well the Dixie plate handled the mass hitting the wall and the wallpaper in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Check your sources, check your sources, check your sources, because this window will be stupid.
Yep.
Not just for Atlanta United, but for any and all clubs, because we know some clubs are bringing in very handsome men, getting ready for the handsome man calendar of Major League Soccer. We know that folks are going to be testing the limits of the salary cap and working their NIL deals so they don't have to worry about the limits to the salary cap, because we've seen it. Check your sources, not just in this continent, but the origin of the news or reports itself. If it's a dude that's got 1,200 followers and he's writing stuff out of his mom's basement and doing stuff on a green screen that looks a little fishy, you might not want to pay attention to those kinds of reports.
I mean, not even that. I don't even think it's that anymore, because you have established names, big names, tons of followers, organizations, tons of followers who are now getting caught up in engagement bait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's do your own research, check your sources, match up with what's being said across 2, 3, 4, 5 different verified sources.
Yes.
Come to your own conclusion.
Cross-reference the reports that come across your desk and all of your tweet decks and those kinds of things.
Hey, baby, you're the product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You're the product.
Yeah.
On social media, you're the product.
Mm-hmm.
They need you to work.
Yes.
Okay? You are the fuel. Your clicks, your views, your time spent on page, you are the fuel. So just to have that out there. Yeah. So engagement bait, it's real.
Yes.
It's the currency of the modern media.
Yes. So once again, thanks to our friends at North Carolina Courage. Thanks to Nino, who joined us from Peru. If you don't have Gold TV and you want to see what's going on with Nino on a weekly basis and a daily basis, you can get it at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And you get just as locked into Fanatis and Central and South American soccer as we do now. Jason got me hooked. I blame him. That's how I can have discussions about Danubio and Nacional and 6-0 blowouts with our buddy Nino Torres. Always great to have Nico Moreno coming on to discuss things from the Pacific perspective, and to have Nick come on and bring in questions that under no circumstance would I have thought of. And that's why we have all of these different voices come in here every day and bring all of our different viewpoints, having Jarrett come in for a little while to discuss Atlanta United and NYC. Tomorrow on the show, hopefully we can catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring for a little bit. I know at 10 o'clock we're going to have the head coach of Loudoun United dropping by to talk about their season and what they've been able to do now that they are detached from DC United and doing well in USL Championship. I'm fairly certain that John Schuster is going to want to drift in, because in the NPSL playoffs last night, man, we didn't even get the chance to get into that either. NPSL and USL League 2 had their midweek matches to get ready for the weekend. Duluth FC went on the road to Des Moines, won last night. And because of that, they now have to travel. As Schusty let us know, they have to travel to Pittsburgh for the next round. So you had Duluth win 2-0 last night. They're going to Steel City for the Midwest Region final. That is in 2 days' time. It's on Saturday night. Last night, West Texas beat OKC 18-89. They advance. They will host Columbus United, who went to Hickory and beat Hickory FC. So we'll see if we can track down Brett Teach and find out what's going on as they figure out how they're going to travel from Columbus, Georgia to West Texas FC for Saturday night. East region, FC Motown beat Virginia Dream in a battle of ex-MLS players. Bill Hamid is playing at Virginia Dream this season. New York Shockers beat Westchester United, so it's at FC Motown in that particular East region final as well. USL League 2, and I've got to do this before we go and find out what else is on the television today. You had playoffs happen last night, and I've got to find out, let's see, schedule. Maybe schedule will give it to me if I click the right thing, Nick. I don't know what I'm staring at here. So if I'm looking at 16, 17, so playoffs, you had everything lining up for tomorrow. So tomorrow lines up everything. Your opening round, Vermont Green beat Reading United as a big underdog. Western Mass beat FC Motown as an underdog. And Virginia Beach United beat South Carolina United Bantams. So Vermont Green, Western Mass, and Virginia Beach all make it into the next round. They're going to be playing in the round of 32. That is tomorrow in USL League 2. So all of that. Let's see what to watch and where to watch it. Now I'm finally catching up with all of the things in my brain here. What to watch, where to watch it, and gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Check your sources, and don't do anything involving the 3 or the 4-letter paper because you take that information at your own peril. Today, Sudamericana, 6 and 8:30 on BN and BN en Español. We already talked about Fanatis, Palestino, and Cuyaba, LDU Quito, and our boys at Always Ready. You have to be in this business. Canadian Premier League on Fox Soccer Plus at 6, Halifax and Valor. Paramount Plus has the Argentine Primera, 4:45, Argentinos Juniors and Tigre, Independiente Rivadavia, and Gimnasia La Plata is at 6. Instituto and Independiente is at 8. That's a show. Well, we blew right through all of the stoplights and all of that kind of stuff because there's all that much to talk about. So, Nick, since you are no longer here, I'm going to whistle us out.